Welcome back to another episode of Adventures in Business. This is your host, Amy Zander, and I'm with my co-host, Lisa. How you doing, Lisa?
Amy, I am doing great. The sun is shining. The sky is blue. Couldn't ask for a better day in Michigan. How are you doing?
I'm good. I saw a post the other day on social media and it said, my favorite season is bird chirping season. And I was like, yes, that's so nice. Right?
It's funny you say that because we have squirrel season. And someone
Sure.
says, you really have squirrel season in Michigan? And I'm like, well, no, but they taunt my dogs. And so
Yeah.
I have to be careful.
Yeah. Raid the bird feeders. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah, it is nice. So we were just talking right before we started the recording about how not only is it nice the weather, but it just seems like most people are just generally in a better mood these days. So it's nice. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So I don't think we have any events to highlight. I mean, I have my summit coming up, but I always talk about that. So there's an ad for that later in the show. So I'll just skip over that. So why don't we just get right to who our guest is, Lisa? Who we got?
Fantastic. So today I'm excited to learn about Ronza Potter with Ronza Potter Coaching. She focuses on building confidence and helping people feel alive as women and mothers despite what's going on in our lives. So, Ronza, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing amazing. And thank you for having me today on the podcast. As I said, also, the sun is out. I just always feel like a new person.
Yep.
Absolutely. That vitamin D, right? We just need that
Yeah,
vitamin D.
yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about your life coaching.
Yeah. So, yeah, my name is Ronza Potter, and I'm a life coach. I work mainly with women and mothers, and I help them feel better about themselves, happier, and have this good relationship with themselves, and also feel confident about themselves without trying to change who they are, actually become more of who they are. And I help them do that through rewiring their brain and managing their negative emotions, learn that skill.
Okay. So what made you decide that this was what you wanted to do?
Well, because myself, I struggled a lot with mental health, and I have also lots of trauma from my childhood, and I didn't seek help for a very long time. And one day, I just had a major breakdown. I couldn't function for like 8 months, and I ended up going to therapy. That was like 4 years ago, or 4.5. So I start with therapy. That's where the route where everyone goes. And did it for a while. And I'm like, I'm still stuck, not feeling better. Something like I felt something was missing. And I kept looking for an answer. And I found life coaching. And that's when my life changed completely. It literally saved my life. I was stuck, hopeless, lost. And it helped me learn how to know the difference, like what our brain is doing, like what my brain was doing in my life, what was creating in my life. Instead of like letting my brain lead my life, I became in charge. And so I learned lots of tools about how to manage my brain. So I get to choose what I want to believe about myself, how I want to feel about myself, how I want to respond to things that happen outside of me in my life. And learning all those tools helped me build that confidence and trust in myself that I can, when life throws things at me, I've got this. I know how to handle this. And so it just changed my life, and it made my marriage much better because I'm not just responding and reacting. I'm thinking on purpose and feeling on purpose, and that made all the difference. And same when I became a mother, like motherhood can literally changes your life completely. And I struggled again with my body image, and I struggled with how my life became. I could barely brush my hair, I didn't have time. So how I wanted to perceive myself with this new life, new body, new everything. And life coaching saved me again and saved my marriage. So I decided to become a life coach and do this.
Very nice. So what's one of the techniques that you use to help us rewire our brain and right and to change some of that mindset and that thinking like you just shared?
hmm Well, in the beginning, the first thing I teach my clients and I work with my clients is awareness. we can't change anything without this awareness. So the first thing that they learn is, and I teach how to differentiate between circumstances and thoughts. Our brain doesn't know the difference between our thoughts and facts in our lives. Our brain thinks everything we have in mind in our brain is a fact. Like, let's say, as women, like when we go on the scale, let's say I weigh 170 pounds. That's a number, that's a fact. But then when I think I'm ugly, I'm not attractive, I'm not sexy, I'm gross, my body is gross, these are our thoughts about that fact, about the number on the scale. And it's not the truth. Our thoughts are just sentences in our brain, they're words. Our brain is like an amazing salesperson, and we don't believe those thoughts. We can decide to choose to change those thoughts. So when I see that number on the scale, I don't think about myself as a gross woman. I see myself, oh, that's a number, but I'm still sexy and attractive and beautiful. So that's like the first step, which is know the difference between our thoughts and facts. So we can bring that awareness to our brain. And this is how we become in charge, actually, of our brain, because our brain doesn't just tell us stories and we believe them, especially about ourselves, and lots of stories we learn from the society about who we are as women, who we should be, and our bodies. And then we become mothers, and same story, we change that story. And when we change that story, we can help also our daughters to change that story. So I feel like when we rewire our brain, we actually break cycles that women get stuck in.
I love what you shared about helping women, because then we can in tune help our children, right?
Yeah.
Teaching them something better. Your daughter's 3, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you, at that young age, what are some things that you can start? Because our kids are programmed from the time they're able to speak, right? And comprehend. So how do you, what is something that you're starting to teach your daughter along the confidence lines and what you shared?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I start with myself. Like, I watch how I look at my body in the mirror when she's around me. Like, do I look at my belly? Because I have a belly after I got my daughter. I'm like, okay, do I look at this belly and I'm like saying things in front of her? Or am I looking at my belly and I'm proud of my body as is? Right. So I did that. We need to start with ourselves first, so we can, because kids learn from our actions more than what we teach them. And so I worked so much with my body and my body image, and I changed that relationship with myself. So when I'm in the mirror and I'm putting clothes on, she's there, I'm like, wow, mommy's belly is beautiful. Can you see? And she points at her belly. I'm like, your belly is beautiful too. And so, like, I keep intentionally doing that with her, to see that she's a beautiful woman, whatever the size of her body is, whatever, she's beautiful. Right. And she's smart. Another thing, I work so much with her negative feelings, because kids, they have emotions, big feelings. And I talk with her so much, like, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's not okay to hit mommy. But it's okay to have those feelings. You don't have to be happy all the time. And those feelings are normal, and we get to feel them. And I'm here for you to feel those emotions. So I don't shame her for her feelings. And that's something we learn as kids. And as women, we're called dramatic. We're dramatic queens, like drama queens. So there are we're emotional people, but in a negative way. So I teach her that those feelings don't make you dramatic. It just makes you human. And so, these are the things I teach her.
Right. I think that, interestingly enough, when women are showing their emotions, sometimes people are like, why are you so angry? And it's like, I have so many more emotions than just anger. Yeah. And that seems to be the one that many people will just say or go to or assume. And it's like, no, I have this whole huge rainbow of emotions and stuff. And it's just not just anger, right? Like, not that there's anything wrong with that, like you said, but it's just so interesting to me that I'm like, really, I'm a lot more than just that. I think that's just, but going back to the body image thing, I love how you're talking about yourself. And I have 2 daughters, and 18 and 15. And I also realized too that it's not just how we talk about ourselves, but of course, how we talk about other people. So I've noticed too, like if you say something like, that heavy set woman over there, or you would say that woman over there with the really beautiful dark hair, or the cool blue shirt, or whatever, like not using somebody's weight or size as a way to describe them
Yes.
is really important. And I think we do that a lot as a society, not even realizing it, short
Yes.
or skinny or whatever. I mean, I think people might be more apt to say that skinny or thin woman rather than saying heavy, but still, that's still pointing out what they look like. And there's so many other things that you can say about somebody than their weight.
Absolutely.
Right. Or
Absolutely.
also with little girls, I noticed too, people, when my girls were little, they're like, oh, like you're so pretty. And I try to say like, wow, you're so smart. Or, things like that. Like instead of just commenting on how they look all the time.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, what do you think about affirmations, Ronza? I hear conflicting information about I am statements or positive affirmations. What is your take on those?
I believe they don't work. Affirmations don't work. Positive thinking doesn't work. And actually they can make people feel worse because they're like, oh, I am doing all of this and I'm not good at this too. Like I'm not getting any better. I'm not feeling good. I'm not building that belief. And they don't work because our brain, this is not how our brain functions. Like when keep going back to the body image because I know this is a big thing for lots of women and mothers. Like it's hard to go from I am ugly and gross to I'm beautiful and sexy. Our brain cannot do that jump. Our brain doesn't believe that. And when our brain doesn't believe, like affirmations, for example, it resists it and then it just pushes it away. We're not gonna do this. This is not part of our belief system. So instead, what I do like with myself, like I use those tools every day in my life and I teach to other people. Like we use neutral thoughts. Neutral thoughts, they are like neutral, of course, they make us feel neutral and they build that bridge between where we are, which is the very negative story that we have about ourselves, and the positive story that we want to have. It's that bridge between this negative place and positive place. And so, for example, like when you look at your body and you say, oh, I'm gross, I'm ugly, you say, I have a human body. It's neutral. Our brain, yeah, it's fact. Neutral thoughts are fact, and our brain can believe that easily. And but when we use and we just repeat that, like you can't just say one time and expect a difference. It's about like repeating it. I have a human body. When you look at your thighs and like, oh, I have human thighs, right? Same, even if you want to believe that you are a smart, creative woman, you can say, I have a human brain. Instead of, when you think I'm not smart enough, I have a human brain. So just repeat those thoughts, neutral thoughts, and neutral thoughts start rewiring our brain. When I say rewire, what I mean is like our brain starts creating new neural pathways in our brain. And these neural pathways like start creating and then become stronger. And then it becomes, you will feel that moment when you get to that place where you look at your body and like, wow, I'm really sexy. So go to neutral thoughts first and repeat them over and over again. And it usually takes about 3 months to feel that rewire. So yeah, this is how it's more effective this way.
Okay.
I like that. Yeah. So if somebody is going to come to you to be their coach, talk us through the process. How does this work?
Well, usually there is a link that they can schedule a consult call with me. It's free. They can send me sometimes. Some people send me a DM, and when we find a time when we can talk, so we just pretty much meet together like this over Zoom, and I ask questions. So I lead the session to understand what they're struggling with, what's going on in their lives, where they need help, what kind of help they need. And we go from there. If I think I can help them, then I tell them how I can help them. And if I can't, I say no. And if the same thing for them, if they don't feel aligned with me, they can say, this is not something we want to do. I want to do. So we just do this free call first. It's for us, both of us, to get to know each other and see if we feel aligned together or not. And then we go from there if we want to work together or not.
Can you tell the audience where they can find that link, or, of course, Facebook, but what is your Facebook handle?
Yeah, so it's on my Facebook page. It's Ronza Potter Coaching. Ronza, it's not Rhonda, it's a Z, Ronza. You can find me on Facebook, and you can find me on Instagram. It's Ronza Potter, and you can just send me a message. I'll respond to you, and I can give you that link. And you can also send me an email if you want, ronza@ronzapotter.com, and I can share that link with you there.
Excellent. And as always, Amy, we'll make sure that those are in our show notes, because she's awesome at being able to locate our guests and having people come and check you out and see what you're all about. So, why is this? What, you talked about purpose and helping women find their purpose. What would you say in a couple of sentences your purpose for doing this is?
The main goal for me is to have a movement of women who really feel so good about themselves and so confident about who they are, and use that energy to create great things in their lives instead of worrying about their body and worrying if other people judge them, or it's stop worrying about what other people think about them and just have that freedom, live that freedom that all women want. That's, for me, that's the end goal that I work for.
I think it was a meme or something that I seen one time on Facebook. It's none of my business what you think about me. And yet we so worry about those things. What's my hair look like? How am I dressing before I leave the house? And as you're working with your clients, how long does it take them to realize their true authentic selves?
Honestly, the transformation starts from day one. Like from the first session we have, that's when they feel the transformation. Usually work together for 3 months, and we meet once a week, and they also have access to me during the week if they need any more support. But again, like all the things that you talked about not worrying what other people think, it's about unlearning lots of things that we learned as girls and women. And that's the rewiring of our brain when we start consciously, on a purpose, stop worrying. And I see that, like when mothers stop doing that, and women, they teach that to their girls, and they start saying no, they create boundaries. They make themselves a priority. They have much greater lives when they do that.
So very good. Boundaries, right? Set boundaries and prioritize you. Two of the things that I am often talking about. So you're speaking right up my alley.
Great.
Well, it's so easy to put everybody else's needs, especially because, you target women and moms, and when we've got family members grown in the house, out of the house, it just seems like we have a tendency to always put them first. And then as a business owner, sometimes that even takes precedence over taking care of ourselves. What would be a self-care tip, right? So if you were to give a self-care tip, what would that be?
Well, first, to believe that taking care of yourself is a gift that you give to your family. That's the belief that helps me all the time to put myself first. Listen to your body. Your body is amazing. Like, it has so much wisdom. If it tells you to rest, just rest and leave the laundry, leave the dishes, because that's a gift for you and your family. Rest is very productive. So that's my biggest advice. Listen to your body. Ask your body what it needs. Like, I talk to my body as if it was a human. Oh, what do you want me to do today? Like, what is it that you feel I should do? Sometimes it's like, hey, let's just binge watch a show. Or let's take time off today because we're tired and exhausted from taking care of everybody. Or let's just go have lunch by ourselves or dinner. And many times I do that. Tell my husband, hey, figure it out. I'm going out for dinner by myself and I will be back.
For
2
you.
hours. Amy, I think you're muted.
You're muted.
Okay, I'm back. I'm not muted. I think self-care means so many different things to different people. I think there's this misnomer that self-care means like, oh, I'm going to, spend thousands of dollars at the spa or go on a vacation by myself or whatever. And it can be all these little things that you're talking about, starting with exactly how you feel about yourself.
Yes.
And that's I think something that we need women to understand, and if they do understand that, then they don't have to feel so guilty, quote unquote, taking time for themselves.
Yeah. And honestly, when you see it's a gift, and my clients see it later, like they show up differently when they take care of themselves, when they rest, when they nap, when their body needs it, when they don't work out because their body is exhausted and wants some rest, or they go out with their friends. They're more patient with their kids. They're happier. They're joyful, and their relationship even with their children and their significant other changes completely. They become more intimate with everybody else. Mm-hmm. So it has so many benefits for women to make themselves a priority. It's not selfish. We learn it is selfish. It is not. It's a gift that you give to everyone around you, right, including yourself. Yeah.
We can't give when we're tapped out, right? When we've exhausted all of our energy and have nothing left to give, we're not as beneficial for all of those around us. So it's extremely important. But Amy brought up guilt, and I know, again, you work with a lot of women and moms, and in part of that brain rewiring, helping us to think differently. How do you handle the mom guilt?
Well, let's talk about feelings. Like, guilt is a feeling, and our feelings are created by our thoughts. So we think our feelings are created by other people's actions, what's going on outside of our lives, our kids, what they do, our boss, debt, whatever. It's not. So we have life and people around us, and we have us, and we have thoughts about life and everything. So we experience life and our life through our thoughts, not as is. So when we feel guilty, it's because we have thoughts like, oh, I'm a terrible mother. I'm not making myself the priority. That's selfish. I should take care of my kids. I shouldn't be away from them. So what I tell my clients, guilt is a feeling that you don't need to fix. It's just an emotion. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong that you need to go and fix. It's a feeling like feeling happy and excited. It's not comfortable, but it's not a problem. And our feelings are not problems that we need to fix it. To fix them, we just need to feel them, allow them to be there, and choose how we want to think on purpose about ourselves. Like when you feel guilty, you're out and you're having a good time with your friends, you feel guilty, just acknowledge it's there. And, bring that awareness to your brain. Hey, brain, you're telling me a lot of nasty things about me. This is not true. I'm an amazing mom. And I want to be out because I'm a human and I deserve it. I deserve to take care of my needs. So guilt is not a problem that you need to fix. It's just a human emotion.
So are these some of the things that you talk about on your podcast? Tell our listeners about your podcast and what we would learn from you on those.
I literally share all the tools that I talked about here and many more tools on my podcast. Like I give it all out. I talk about mom guilt. I talk about how to manage your anxiety. I talk about body image, relationships, everything that we women, humans go through, and how to be really good at being a human. That's the whole point of life coaching, how to be really good at being a human, messy, imperfect, chaotic. And so I talk all about that on my podcast. It's called Moms Don't Give a Fuck. And you can find it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And I share it so much on my social media, so you can easily get a link and listen to it.
Fantastic. So, ladies, I encourage you to get out there and listen to her podcast. And you know what, man, you may want to find out what your significant others and women are being taught. So Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Is there anything that we've not asked you that you would like to share with our listeners?
I think we covered lots of things today. Thank you so much. I had such a great time with you today, and yeah, we had such an amazing conversation.
Yeah, I want to ask one question. We talked about body image and the mom guilt and anger, which are three very powerful and real things that many women deal with. Maybe all of them. Well, are there any other issues or things that bring people to you as a coach?
Confidence is a big thing. Problems with a significant other is another issue. And also, they like that I don't care what I say on social media, that I speak my mind, and people
Right.
judge me. And they like that. They want to feel free. They want to not worry about other people think about them, and
Right.
they want to make themselves a priority and just be who they are and stop pretending to be someone they're not.
Yeah.
And a lot of us women, it's okay. I did it. All of us. This is how we are raised to be. And so they come for all those things. Confidence is a big thing. Confidence is also a feeling, and so I teach them how to build their confidence with their own thoughts. And so this is how they can own it, and nobody can take their confidence away from them because they create it from their own thinking.
Right.
And it's not their body, it's not other people's judgments, it's not anybody else, it's them. And that's very powerful too.
Is your coaching mostly done one-on-one?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Well, it has been very enlightening speaking to our hearts for sure on this topic. And I am glad that there are people like you, Ronza, doing this work and helping women be the best they can be and free
Thank you.
themselves. Yeah, free themselves from these negative things that we put on ourselves, really.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. It was,
yeah.
a great, amazing opportunity that you provide for everyone to be here. And it just, I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, we appreciate you too. And I look forward to seeing you at the next Women's Forum or out and about and where
Yes,
we run into each other. So thank you so
absolutely.
much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you to our listeners for coming on another adventure with us. We hope that you've had a great time. And of course, if you are interested in hearing more about Ronza or getting in touch with her, we'll have links to the show notes and how to get a hold of her, and also a link to her podcast as well if you're interested in hearing that. And we hope you have a great day. And as always, please go out and make it an adventure.